Hey, what's up, guys? This is Paul Savet out here in Bangkok, Thailand, and today we're going to take a look at the inside of a EPUB file. Now, it's a bit nerdy, it's a bit difficult to understand, but once you understand kind of how this works, you'll have a pretty good idea of how ebooks work, and you can pretty much, get a real super professional looking ebook. So what we got here, this is my EPUB file, America Goes On. I'm going to open it up with Adobe Editions. As you can see, this is the NCX over here. I've also got an HTML table of contents. Click around. It's looking okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look, under the hood of this EPUB file and see what it's all about. So I'm going to close this down. And what you can do in EPUB is actually a zipped file. It's like a compressed file with a bunch of other files in it, so you can kind of just open it up with a program like 7-zip or something, and you just extract it. And what you got here, it'll go into basically these kind of files. The first file we see is this MIME type file. This file has to be exactly 20 bytes for an EPUB to function properly. If we take a look at it inside, all it says is this is all it says. That's it. Another thing we can take a look at is this directory. It has to be meta-inf. You click it up, and there's just a file in here called container.xml. If you take a look at it, all it really does is it tells where the content.opf file is located relative to the root directory. This under here, full path, is the only thing you ever need to really change. I don't know why these files are in here, but they have to be in there or it doesn't work. It's just the way it is. Alright, so let's take a look at OEPBS folder, and inside here, this is where we have all our materials. So we've got some images, some HTML files, we've got a style sheet, and we've got this file called the toc.ncx. That's the actual coding for the NCX table of contents. This is the HTML table of contents. If we take a look inside this content OPF, that's the big one. That's the packaging file that tells the EPUB basically how it's structured. So if we open this up, what you see here, we've got some stuff up here. I'm not really sure what that does, but we got some metadata down here. And this metadata, this is the required part by Amazon and by Barnes & Noble, as well as required by the people who came up with the standards for the EPUB. So what we got our title, we've got language, the identifier. This big number over here, that's a bunch of letters and numbers, is called a universally unique identifier. And what it does is it's randomly generated, and the odds of ever generating the same one are a bazillion to 1. And you can just get those online. There's websites that just generate these random things, and you can just use that and just replace that into here like that. A creator, that's just going to be the author. The publisher, that's just me because I'm a self-publisher. The date, it has to kind of look like this. This is the actual publishing date. And this meta thing here, this is required by Amazon.com. It's basically just the meta cover. I don't know why they make you put it in there, but they do. And Amazon's the big market, so we got to kind of do what they tell us. The description, this is just these aren't really required, but I like to keep them in there in the metadata. This is just my back jacket description. I've got some keywords here. The contributor, that's my editor, my brother actually. He's a great guy. This is basically the metadata section. And then we come down here into what we call the manifest section. And this basically is declaring every type of file that is inside the EPUB. So we've got our cover, JPG, and this is where the file is located relative to the OPF file. So mine's in the same directory, so I don't need any a path there or anything. I just need the name of the file, and it has to be case sensitive. EPUB is really finicky about case sensitive stuff, so be careful. The ID, you can call this whatever you want. You just have to make sure you don't duplicate these ID references, and they'll be referenced elsewhere in the spine section as well as the NCX table of contents. The media type, this is important. Make sure you don't screw this up. I always screw this up by accident, but you can use these media types. I put them in some XHTML comments here, but you have to declare like what type of media is. Like the toc.ncx has this special media type. I don't know what this thing is, but you have to type it exactly like that. You have to have incredible attention to detail when dealing with these things. I've got every like JPEG or GIF you use in your ebook. You need to declare it in the manifest, including the style sheet, cover page, table of contents, all that stuff. It all needs to get declared in the manifest section. The next section is called the spine section. This is actually the linear order of how the ebook is read. So what it is so you got the spine, toc.ncx. You have to declare that in here. The tag has to look exactly like that. Down here, ID ref. So this refers to the ID that we declared up in the manifest. So cover PG, I go up here, and it's like, okay. Oh, there it is. All right, ID cover PG. So it has to match exactly the ID that was declared in the manifest. And you basically go through, and this is the linear order. So I'm going to go like from cover page to title page, HTML1, which I declared up here is content1.html. So it's going to basically go in a linear order for the book. And I got the TOC at the end. One thing you should know about the spine section, whenever you parse out files like this, like I've got my XHTML files parsed into a bunch of different smaller files. Whenever you go in the next order in the spine, it'll add a page break in the e-reader device. That's good. That's what we want. So you don't need to mess around with like the CSS, property, page break before, value always. You don't have to screw around with that stuff if you just parse everything out where you want a page break. It's just kind of a little tip I like. The last section is this guide section. This is like the buttons on e-readers. Like when a reader clicks cover, it'll go to this over here, cover page, and you have to declare the type like this. You can find like the different types on the OPF standard, but I just declare three things. That's what's recommended by Amazon.com. You declare like a cover, a TOC. This is the HTML table of contents, not the NCX table of contents. And down here, text. This is like when the reader opens their file for the first time. It'll go to this. It'll go to content1.html, and that's just nice because it skips over like the title and copyright page. I kind of like that. So the next thing we want to check out is our toc.ncx file, and this one is pretty intense. Like you have to be really careful with this one. Basically, it's the meta table of contents, and what you have up here, and this is what the file looks like. It's basically into like three parts. We got this section. This is like the metadata section. This universally unique identifier has to be exactly the same as the one in the content.opf file. This one, DTB depth, that's just like the different levels of table of contents. Like if you want like a 2-tiered or a 3-tiered table of contents, I always set it to 1 because the Nook can only support 1, so I just do 1. These things down here, I don't know what these are. Don't worry about those. Doc title, that's just your book title and your author. That can be anything. That's just what's going to show up inside some e-readers NCX. The real meat and potatoes is down here. It's called the nav map section. Basically, you've got these things called nav points, and basically what that is this. This says like what the text is going to be and what it's going to link to. And you can put like what's called the play order here. You want to have it sequential. So this will be play order 1, it'll be at the top at the NCX. Play order 2, it'll be second down. So if you click like that the jump section button on the Kindle and you're in 2, it'll go back to 1. If you click forward, it'll go to 3. And basically you just kind of whatever the text you want to say, like you put it in there, and then you put like a link in there, and you have to be real careful when you're dealing with this, or you can kind of screw some stuff up. Another thing we want to look at is maybe if you want to see like what my style sheet looks like, you can just download this on my website. Feel free to plagiarize it. I don't care. I want to help people out, right? So, this is just like a CSS style sheet. It's pretty similar, nothing different from XHTML. However, one thing you got to know is this at page feature. This does not work inside the Kindle or in the Mobi format. Do not try to use any like at function inside the Mobi. But that's okay because I use the at page feature to declare margins, and I always leave my margins for Mobi at 0 because the Kindle has like a little bit of a kind of buffer area on it, so you don't need margins. But for like EPUBs, I always declare like a 5-point margin and like text align justified. But this is just basically your standard cascading style sheet. Another file, perhaps you want to see like some of like what my content files look like. Like here's one for example. So this is like chapter 7. So since I parsed out everything into individual XHTML files, it'll automatically enter the page break. So I didn't need to define them in my CSS. So this is basically just your basic XHTML file. There's nothing fancy about this. So let's now that we kind of know what is under an EPUB file, let's try zipping it up and validating it. See what happens. So now what we have to do, that we have kind of our we got all our files ready to go. We have to zip it up a certain way to package the EPUB. You can't just use like Windows 7-zip. You actually have to go into the command line prompt to actually zip this properly, so to be a valid EPUB file. And the way you do that is you have to go back in time. This is how computers worked. Like a million years ago. For those of you who aren't under 30, you probably don't know what the command line is. So you type CMD in your little Windows thing here, and it takes you into what's called the command line. And this was how computers worked a long time ago. So we go to the directory where all our files are, the root directory. And what we have to do is we have to run the zip program from the command line. And what you want to do is zip, and then we're going to name it mybook.epub. And then you have to add these fields, -dx0, and then just MIME type, because that'll add the MIME type file to the zip first. And then you add the rest of the files by typing it like this. Whoops, you have to make sure you do it case sensitive, like that, and then you type in the folders here. This is really exciting stuff. So all right, there we go. It zipped. So basically, it zipped everything into this mybook.epub file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 3Press website, and I'm going to try and validate my EPUB. The way to do that, this is important because the slightest little bit of error can like make it a non-valid EPUB. And what they'll do is this will tell you exactly what is wrong with your EPUB. So hopefully we get it valid on the first time, but let's see what happens. It's still loading. Sorry, my internet connection's slow today. Let's see how we did. All right. Oh my goodness, we failed, right? But that's okay. You just have to go back and we'll take a look and see what these errors were. So let's kind of analyze some of the errors. Like I got an error in my toc.ncx. And it's kind of confusing, like where you have to go, but they provide like a line number there, so that kind of helps. And so let's see if I can find the problem. And oh geez, the problem is I named a play order twice in a row. I got to be careful about stuff like that. And then this error number 4 down here, it says unrecognized media type, and it's because what I did was I made the media type declaration in capitals. It should have been in lowercase. So once you get these errors, we'll re-zip up the EPUB, and then we'll try validating again, and it should be good to go.